You know that feeling, right? You've done everything you were supposed to. You made the plans, you prayed about it, you put in all the work, and then boom, it all just falls apart. It's so confusing, it's painful, and it just leaves you with this one huge question. Why? Well, today, let's dive into a really powerful way of looking at what might actually be going on behind the scenes during those times. So yeah, let's start right there in that moment of total confusion. You had a good plan, a real dream, and you gave it your all. But the result? It feels like a total failure. And look, this isn't about second-guessing your choices. It's about trying to make sense of these crazy, unexpected detours life throws at us. And that really is the question that can keep you up at night, isn't it? I mean, if my intentions were good, if I really tried my best, where did it all go so wrong? And this leads to some really tough questions, the kind we're often scared to even say out loud. You start thinking, did I hear God wrong? Did I just make this all up? Or why would he let me fail like this? Was he even watching? And the worst one, is this some kind of punishment? These are real, honest questions, and they absolutely deserve a closer look. Okay, but what if? What if it's not a punishment at all? What if that pause, that delay, isn't a failure? This is the big idea we're going to unpack today. The idea of reframing these moments as intentional, divine preparation. So that brings us to this key concept, a God-ordained waiting season. And let's be clear, this is not about passively sitting around, twiddling your thumbs. It's an active period. It's a time when things are being rearranged behind the scenes, things you can't even see. And more importantly, a time when you are being shaped and prepared for what's coming next. And listen, this is not some new idea. If you look at the spiritual Hall of Fame, waiting is a well-worn path. Think about it. Abraham waited decades for his promised son. Joseph spent years in an Egyptian prison. David was anointed king and then waited years on the run for the throne. Even Jesus had 30 hidden years before his public ministry began. For all of them, the waiting wasn't wasted time. It was the very thing that forged them into the people who could handle the promise when it finally arrived. This chart really breaks down the massive shift in perspective we're talking about. On our side, when we're in it, a wait feels like punishment. It feels empty, it feels like a roadblock, a delay. But from God's point of view, that punishment is actually preparation. That emptiness is formation. And that delay, that might just be protection, saving you from a path that wasn't meant for you. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how do you actually know if you're in one of these seasons? Because let's be real, it's not always obvious. So let's get super practical and look at 4 signs that might just be telling you that you're in a God-ordained wait. All right, let's jump into sign number 1. And here it is, a sensible, logical plan just completely collapses out of nowhere. This is often the thing that kicks this whole season off. You made a decision that made total sense, you worked hard at it, and it just implodes. From the outside, and even to you, it looks like a huge failure. But it might actually be a divine interruption, a course correction, to pull you off a road that was going to a dead end. Okay, moving on to sign number 2. This one is less about what's happening out there, and more about a quiet shift that starts happening in here. You feel this pull toward deep reflection. In the quiet, in the slowness, you find yourself thinking about your life on a deeper level, not just being frustrated, but actually examining things, your habits, your character, the big why questions. When that happens, it's a huge clue that God is using this pause to do a work in you, not just change the circumstances around you. All right, let's talk about sign number 3. You start to get these little nudges to grow. You know what I mean? That quiet prompting to maybe pray a little more consistently, or to finally let go of that grudge and forgive someone. Or maybe it's just to get your own personal habits in order. These little nudges are so important. It's like God is getting you ready, strengthening you to handle the weight of the blessing that's on its way. He's building the you that can actually sustain what's coming next. And that brings us to our 4th and final sign for today. Clarity starts to arrive, but it comes piece by piece. Look, God almost never drops the full 5-year plan in your lap. It doesn't work that way. Instead, during a waiting season, he gives you just enough light for the next step. It might be a message you hear at just the right time, a verse in the Bible that just jumps off the page, or a random conversation that answers a question you didn't even know how to ask. These are like little breadcrumbs, confirming that he's with you and you haven't been forgotten. Okay, so we know the signs, but let's be honest, waiting is hard. It's uncomfortable, it's confusing, and it can feel really lonely. So how do you actually survive it? The key isn't trying to make the discomfort go away, but it's about finding your strength right there in the middle of it. And this is where we see something amazing happen. Think about it. Despite all the pressure, the confusion, the disappointment, you don't completely break, do you? There's something inside that just won't let you give up. That inner resilience, that little voice that says, this isn't the end. That is a huge sign that God Himself is holding you together and sustaining you through this.
So what is the whole point of this? All the waiting, the reflecting, the uncomfortable growth. It's all leading somewhere. It's leading to a transformation. See, the goal isn't just about getting the thing you've been waiting for. The real prize is the person you become in the process.
And this is what you walk away with. A true waiting season always changes you for the better. You come out the other side with so much more clarity on what really matters. You have more maturity to handle whatever life throws at you, and you've gained a kind of wisdom you just can't get any other way. And this is the big aha moment. When you look back, you finally see it. That pause, it wasn't a punishment. It was your training ground. It was the very thing that built the character, the strength, and the wisdom you needed to actually handle the blessing you were praying for all along. The truth is, you weren't ready for it back then, but because of the wait, you are now. So, I want to leave you with this one final question to think about. If you feel like you're in one of these pauses right now, in a delay, in a moment of confusion, maybe it's time to stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead, start asking, what is this waiting season preparing me for?